America did not just listen. America felt. In a moment that will be remembered as one of the most emotional milestones in modern music history, Bruno Mars has done the unthinkable, an achievement so massive, so overwhelming that fans, critics, and even industry veterans were left speechless. 3 songs, more than 3 billion streams. One artist standing alone at the top of Spotify, ranked number 1, rewriting the rules of what global success truly looks like. This is not just about numbers. This is about legacy, emotion, and the rare kind of artistry that transcends charts and algorithms. This is about Bruno Mars making an entire nation pause, reflect, and yes, cry as history unfolded in real time. From the first second the news broke, social media erupted. Timelines flooded. Fans across America shared memories, tears, and disbelief. How could one artist still dominate the world so completely, so powerfully in an era where attention spans are short and trends disappear overnight? The answer, as millions have come to realize, is simple but profound. Bruno Mars is timeless. The Spotify milestone itself is staggering. 3 songs, each surpassing the unimaginable threshold of 1 billion streams, collectively soaring past 3 billion listens worldwide. This is not the result of a viral gimmick or a fleeting trend. These streams are organic, consistent, and emotional, people returning again and again, pressing play not out of habit but out of connection. Each song represents a chapter in Bruno Mars' musical journey. Songs that became soundtracks to first loves, heartbreaks, late-night drives, celebrations, and quiet moments alone. Songs that Americans grew up with. Songs that the world embraced as universal expressions of joy and pain. Industry insiders were stunned. Analysts revisited their projections. Streaming platforms quietly adjusted their benchmarks, because achievements like this don't just break records, they force the entire system to recalibrate. Bruno Mars didn't just hit number 1 on Spotify, he reminded the world what true global resonance looks like. What makes this moment even more emotional is the context. Music today moves fast, artists come and go. Songs trend for weeks, sometimes days, yet Bruno Mars, without oversaturating the market, without chasing every new sound, continues to dominate. His music ages like fine wine, growing richer and more powerful with time. That is why these streams keep rising. That is why the numbers refuse to slow down. Across America, fans shared stories of where they were when they first heard those songs. College dorm rooms, family living rooms, long commutes, weddings, breakups, funerals. Each stream represents a memory. Multiply that by billions and you begin to understand why this achievement feels less like a statistic and more like a national emotional moment. Spotify itself became the stage for this historic triumph. The platform where the world listens, where trends are born and buried, crowned Bruno Mars as the undisputed king once again. Ranking number 1 is one thing. Doing it with such overwhelming dominance, 3 songs crossing 3 billion streams, is something else entirely. It's rare, it's elite, it's almost mythical. Critics who once questioned whether Bruno Mars could maintain his relevance were silenced. New listeners discovered his catalog and fell in love instantly. Older fans felt validated, proud, and deeply emotional. America watched one of its greatest musical exports remind the world why artistry still matters. Behind the scenes, the impact was seismic. Radio stations revisited his hits, playlists reshuffled, music journalists scrambled to find the right words. Because how do you explain something this big without sounding exaggerated? How do you describe a moment that genuinely makes a country emotional? The truth is, Bruno Mars' achievement isn't just about him, it's about what he represents. Excellence without arrogance, fame without distance, talent paired with relentless discipline. In an industry often criticized for artificial success, Bruno Mars stands as proof that authenticity still wins. The 3 songs themselves deserve reflection. Each carries a different emotional weight, yet all share one common thread: honesty. Bruno Mars doesn't just sing, he confesses. He celebrates, he hurts, he loves, and listeners recognize themselves in his voice. That connection is what fuels billions of streams long after release dates fade from memory. America crying over this achievement isn't weakness, it's pride. Pride in an artist who carried the flag of musical excellence across the world. Pride in seeing American music still capable of uniting cultures, languages, and generations. Pride in witnessing history rather than reading about it years later. Global fans joined the celebration, but the emotional core remained deeply American. From Los Angeles to New York, from radio hosts to everyday listeners, the reaction was the same: disbelief mixed with gratitude. Gratitude for the songs, gratitude for the memories, gratitude for an artist who never forgot the power of melody and meaning. As the numbers continue to rise, one thing is clear: this is not the end. Bruno Mars has entered a rare category of artists whose past success does not limit their future. Instead, it fuels it. Every new listener becomes a fan. Every replay strengthens the legacy. Music historians are already debating where this places him among the greats. Some hesitate to make comparisons. Others boldly say it out loud. This is legendary territory. When 3 songs alone can surpass 3 billion streams and secure the #1 position on Spotify, the conversation changes permanently. For younger artists watching, the lesson is powerful. Trends fade. Authenticity endures. For fans, the message is emotional. The songs that shaped your life still matter. For America, this moment is a reminder that greatness, when earned, still moves hearts. Bruno Mars didn't need a dramatic comeback. He never truly left. He simply waited, let the music speak, and allowed time to prove what fans already knew. And when the proof arrived, 3 billion streams, #1 on Spotify, it arrived with such force that it made a nation emotional. As the world presses play again and again, one question echoes softly beneath the celebration. How far can this go? If 3 songs can do this, what comes next? Another record, another era, another moment that leaves the world stunned. One thing is certain, this achievement is not just unbelievable, it is unforgettable. Bruno Mars didn't just make America listen, he made America feel. And in the end, that is the most powerful achievement of all. The story does not stop at the numbers. In fact, the numbers are only the doorway into something much deeper, something emotional, cultural, and almost spiritual for millions of listeners. As the news of Bruno Mars holding the #1 position on Spotify with more than 3 billion streams across just 3 songs continued to spread, the reaction evolved from shock into reflection. People began asking why this mattered so much. Why did this moment feel heavier than a typical chart update? Why did it feel like history rather than headline? Because Bruno Mars' achievement represents endurance in an era obsessed with speed. America has watched countless stars rise fast and fall faster. Viral hits explode and vanish. Streaming records are broken weekly, but this moment stood still. It forced people to slow down and acknowledge that longevity, real longevity, still exists. Bruno Mars did not rely on controversy. He did not flood the market. He did not chase algorithms. Instead, he trusted the music. And the world responded one stream at a time until those streams became billions. Behind every one of those 3 songs is a quiet miracle. They were not released with the expectation of becoming historic. They were released with emotion, craftsmanship, and respect for the listener. Over time, listeners returned to them during life's most intense moments: breakups, weddings, lonely nights, road trips, victories, losses. These songs became emotional anchors. That is why they never stopped being played. That is why they kept growing long after the spotlight moved elsewhere. Spotify's data tells one story, but human reaction tells another. Across America, fans described the same feeling: pride mixed with disbelief. Parents played Bruno Mars songs for their children, realizing they were passing down not just music but memories. Young listeners discovered his catalog and were stunned that songs released years ago still felt fresh, still felt alive. That cross-generational impact is rare and it is priceless. Industry experts quietly admitted what fans had long believed: this was not a fluke. This was the result of one of the most disciplined careers in modern music. Bruno Mars has always been meticulous about sound, performance, image, and timing. He disappears when the work is not ready and returns only when it is undeniable. That patience is now paying off on a scale few could have predicted. The emotional reaction in America was amplified by how personal his music feels. Bruno Mars sings about love, regret, desire, celebration, and vulnerability in a way that feels intimate, not manufactured. Listeners don't feel like they are consuming a product. They feel like they are sharing a moment. Multiply that feeling by billions of streams and it becomes clear why this achievement resonated so deeply. Radio stations began revisiting his catalog not as nostalgia but as relevance. DJs spoke with reverence, calling this moment a reminder of what real hits look like. Music teachers referenced his songwriting. Aspiring artists studied his melodies and phrasing. This achievement didn't just dominate charts, it influenced conversations about what quality truly means in music. There is also something quietly powerful about how Bruno Mars reached this milestone. No dramatic announcements, no desperate marketing, no manufactured hype. The streams climbed naturally, steadily, relentlessly. That kind of success cannot be forced, it can only be earned. As America watched the numbers climb past 3 billion, the conversation shifted again. This was no longer about Spotify, it was about legacy. Where does Bruno Mars stand in the story of American music? The question no longer sounds premature, it sounds necessary. When an artist can dominate globally with just 3 songs years after their release, the impact goes beyond trends and enters history. Fans around the world echoed the sentiment, but America felt it differently. Bruno Mars is one of its own. Watching him reach this level felt like watching a hometown hero conquer the world without losing his soul. That pride was emotional, overwhelming, and deeply human. Even silence spoke volumes. Artists who usually comment on every chart movement paused, because moments like this don't need loud reactions, they demand respect, quiet acknowledgement, the kind of nod that says, yes, this is real. And still the streams continue. Every day the numbers rise. Every day new listeners press play. The achievement is no longer frozen in time, it is alive, expanding, refusing to settle. That may be the most frightening part for the industry and the most exciting part for fans. If this is what Bruno Mars can do now, what happens next? Will another song join the billion-stream club? Will he redefine the standard again? Or will he simply let the music breathe, knowing it no longer needs validation? One truth stands above all others. Bruno Mars did not just make America cry because of success. He made America emotional because he proved something many feared was gone, that music with heart, patience, and honesty can still conquer the world. This is not just an unbelievable achievement, it is a reminder that when artistry meets authenticity, the impact is timeless. And as long as people feel, as long as they love, as long as they remember, Bruno Mars' music will keep playing. And the world will keep listening.